So, look, I want to thank you for coming out, and
Absolutely.
I want to thank you for all that you do.
Thank you.
The impact of the community college, the legacy that we have at Nash is something I think we can all be very proud of, and you've continued it on, are continuing it on. But one of the things I want to talk to you about, or at least ask you about, is you had asked me for a support letter related to a new health sciences building.
Yes.
So tell me what's going on there.
Okay.
And also in that, there was some conversation about CITI High School and
Absolutely.
kind of a change. And so I think that's incredibly interesting. And I don't know that I fully understand it.
Well, good. Well, I'll be happy to tell you about it.
School me.
I know a little bit about it, but let me back up a little bit and just tell you I started my 6th year
Has it been
2
that
weeks
long?
ago. So I've been 5 full years.
I got to tell you, it really doesn't feel that long.
It doesn't to me either. Some days with COVID,
Yeah.
going through COVID like we did, it feels like a lot longer.
Well,
But
yeah.
it has passed extremely quickly. But no, the campus is changing substantially. I mean, we this summer opened our new Vet Tech Annex, Veterinary Medical Technology Annex. We're about to have the ribbon cutting on our new driver training center.
Okay.
And so our next big jump is for this health sciences building.
Okay.
And there's this really great win-win kind of effect of this. So we are at a point right now, the quality of our health sciences programs, and I'm talking physical therapy assistant, medical assisting, nursing, obviously,
Sure.
ADN, practical nursing, nurse aid, all the programs we have. The quality, I'll put it up against anybody's in the state or the nation. Our nursing first round pass rate for NCLEX national test this year was over 95%.
Wow.
Highest the college has ever had.
Wow.
So our quality is there. Unfortunately, students aren't necessarily looking for quality anymore.
Right.
What they're looking for is, does the place I'm going to train in look like a hospital ward? Does it have all the bells and whistles? Does it? It's more the glitz and glamour part than it is quality. It's kind of like selling young employees on benefits.
Sure.
As an older person, I appreciate benefits.
Well, I got to tell you, I was young and 20-something once upon a time, and I'm like, are you taking how much out of my check?
Well, yeah, why do I need
I
that?
haven't been to the doctor in 5 years.
Exactly. I don't need retirement. I'd rather have pay. So it's kind of the same thing.
Right.
Students are looking for that next step up.
Sure.
So where our quality is there, our facilities aren't.
Okay.
So we house nursing, medicine, and physical therapy in some of the older buildings.
Okay.
It's very much the way they were built, cinder block hallways, cinder block rooms, no bells and whistles.
They don't look any different than the day they were built.
They do not. So that's kind of been an issue for us. Add to that, the qualified applicant pool nationwide for medical or for health professions is going down.
I know that.
Which scares us all.
Yeah.
And so we're now faced with that. If we don't glitz ourselves up a little bit, our pool's already shrinking. We've got area schools and online schools doing all kinds of things now. We're going to start losing our applicant pool, our applicants, our nurses, and that's going to not benefit anybody.
Well, and I want to talk about that, but I also want to talk about, why do you think that applicant pool is shrinking? Because when I look at all the jobs out there,
oh gosh,
nursing, physical therapy, occupational therapy, they really don't change. I've still got to touch a patient. I'm always going to have the sick in front of me. They're always going to need that service. And so, talking about from a career perspective, you've got some at least consistency. You're not having to rethink it, relearn it what feels like every 6 months or whatever it is. You got to stay sharp in your skills, and there are all kinds of grades in there. But why do you think that is? Because the wages are pretty good.
Absolutely,
they're actually very good.
Absolutely, I think we're kind of nationwide suffering from There's other jobs people can do and get paid very well for.
Sure.
Where before, pre-COVID, nursing always is going to be up there high, but there weren't a whole lot of other alternatives that were going to pay a whole lot.
Right.
Post-COVID, we see this in all of our field, all the areas that we teach. Students aren't going to school necessarily because they can work at think of Nash, we're an industrial county. We've got some incredible industries. You can go to work for any one of them, make a living wage now, where before COVID, it wasn't that easy to do. I think part of it's that because nursing, any of the medical professions are hard.
They are hard.
They are lifelong. You got to really want to do it. I think students are seeing some outs now. Doesn't mean they won't come back.
Right.
But we're also suffering from what's called the 2025 cliff. The 2020 census was the first census where America didn't replenish itself. We're starting to see this lowered birth rates.
Sure.
Now they're becoming 17 to 19-year-olds. So the graduation, the level from high school or the number that are graduating from high school is diminishing.
Right.
So we're seeing less of a pool because there's less kids to be in the pool. Then we're seeing these other opportunities. So I think it's a myriad of effects.
Okay.
But it's hurting specifically our skills like nursing, welding, all the things that they're kind of hard work to do.
Yeah.
Versus finding an office job where you make a living wage now and you don't even have to have a degree.
Okay. Well,
So
that's true.
I think it's
Well,
a
and
bunch
it's
of
about certificates and what we are seeing, what I'm seeing, you know, at least in terms of economic recruitment and development, what folks want is somebody who's got a work ethic, who has, you know, obviously intelligent.
Sure.
But they'll train. And if you need the 4-year degree, well, they'll take you to the 4 years. It's like the military. Well, if you need the 4-year degree to do that next job, we'll pay for that. We'll make it happen. If you need a master's, we'll do that. We'll take you all the way to whatever educational level you need, but you don't need it to start, and you don't need it to have a successful career that pays well.
Exactly.
Which is good. You know, I like that shift. I do like that shift. And of course, community college system is perfectly in the sweet spot there.
Sure. No, absolutely. And so our workforce training, Con Ed has grown, our continuing education has grown 25% during COVID, where other things weren't because people were shifting to training. Let me get one class. Let me get a human resources development class, which after I get that, it teaches those soft skills. Right. I can get a job anywhere in Nash County and make a good wage. Then come back and we try to hook them in and say, okay, now when you need us next, here's the next steps for you. Right. But the thought that they're going to come in and go straight through anymore, is just non-existent anymore.
Well, and I guess it's just our reality, you know. And of course, and I've spent all of my professional career in healthcare at some level, investing, managing, in various degrees, and it's one of the professions that really is frustrating to me because you can't just add a certification in 6 months and change your life, right? You've got to get an actual degree. You've got to actually get the license in order to, and you've got to stay current in that license to be able to do the job. And it really does kind of form this educational class system. And so it has always been frustration to me because, I mean, you've got somebody with a great work ethic who's smart, might be a nursing assistant or med tech, you know, they ought to become able to become an RN, but it's just not that easy.
It's just not that easy.
So what you're really saying is you're upgrading the facilities. It's not just classrooms though.
No.
So you're creating a hospital-like workplace environment classroom, I guess, or for practicums
and laboratories, and the same with medicine, physical therapy, more what they're going to see in the workplace. Sure. And then plus just from equipment standpoint, we do the best we can. And we've got, again, our qualities, the pass rates speak volumes where our quality
of course.
But we can always be better, showier. You know, I've told them they shouldn't have said a 95% pass rate because now I want 100. Well, and I made them a promise. I met with all the nursing instructors. And we took treats over to them and said, now, here's the deal. You make 100%. We're going to do a steak cookout at my house. And they said, will you rent us a billboard? I said, absolutely. Well, you know. So we're looking for next year for the class of 25 if they.
Well, aren't you just feeling awful special? You think a steak dinner is going to change the world for them?
I think it will in a billboard. They seem to like the billboard idea.
Well, I like the billboard. Who doesn't like a little publicity, right?
But it really is that upgrade. Yeah. But the reason we're focusing on health sciences, we need the upgrade to continue to do what we do. But we recently, back up a little bit, there's 2 innovative high schools on our campus now. Yeah. They're Nash County Public Schools, high schools. Right. But I claim them. Dr. Ellis and I just agreed to let me have them because they're mine. They're on my campus.
That's right.
One's the early college. From its inception, it's been on campus. Right. And it is all university transfer students. Right. So they're all going to leave here and go somewhere else. Right. Hopefully Wesleyan, and they'll stay here. But they're going to go somewhere else.
Regardless, they go and get that 4-year degree at accredited university.
Exactly. And they graduate high school on our campus with their Associate of Science or Associate of Art degree. So it's an incredible program. Any innovative high school can have 500 students. So there's 5 years. There's a super senior year. Okay. So it's 100 students per year. Okay. So the early college has about 430. Okay. Contrast that with CITI High, which is our skills high school. Mm-hmm. Arguably, to me, the more important of the 2 in Nash County because of the skills they leave with to get employed. Right. And it's not that the early college isn't important. We need doctors and lawyers and everybody else.
We need everybody.
But we've got to, from the time I got here 5 years ago, I said, I want CITI High on campus. I want to put skills at the same level we put at university transfer. Right. So I met Dr. Ellis. He came, I came November of 19, so I got a couple of months before COVID. He came March 1st.
I remember when he came.
The state closed like that day.
Yeah.
So, but I met him very early on, and I told him, I said, look, I don't know where you stand on skills, but here's my plan. I want CITI High on my campus. He's been nothing but supportive. I mean, he's been so supportive. Well, with the school demerger, our plan got changed. So he called me about 8 months ago and said, could you move them on campus earlier? And our plan was to get a building built, move all of our nursing, everybody into a facility, and then refit one of our older facilities for CITI High.
Right.
I said, look, what's the alternative? And he said, well, I don't know. And the reason that he was thinking about it, CITI High at the time had about 80 students.
Okay.
So he's running a high school for 80 students.
Wow. And so he doesn't even have the scales of economy or whatever the equivalent of that is in education.
Exactly.
To make it
but
really work.
Because he's been so supportive, he was fine with the way it was. But now he needed the other part of the old high school for another middle school. Right. So we had 300 plus students needing to move in.
Because he did lose some real estate in the, I guess we'll call it the county line split.
Exactly.
Or
however
you
we want to talk about that.
Yeah.
So he did lose some real estate. And so he said, could we do it? And I said, look, let me go to my people. So I went back to my chief academic officer. Said, I want to run something by you because we're growing again this year. So the college itself is growing. I know. So that's great.
That wasn't necessarily the story last year, right?
No, it hasn't been since I've been here. I came and enrollment dropped. So
right. I know.
We had a little thing called COVID. But anyway, so we were already growing. So we were already worried about space. I know in her mind, she was cussing me and calling me everything that she could. But she went out 3 days later, came back and said, I need 5 classrooms and this could work. She came back and said, we can make this work.
Okay.
So we pulled the trigger and moved CITI High onto campus for fall of this year.
Okay.
So the school system rented a modular and brought it on, which I don't like on my campus.
I know.
But it's a necessary evil.
Sure. Well, it's temporary. Right?
It's temporary. It's not permanent, but it helps make the story that it is temporary. We got to find a permanent solution. So the way this is a win-win, win-win, all the wins in the row. When we get our $22 million, 35,000 square foot new health science,
it's a win.
It's a really win.
Right.
Then nursing, medical assistant, physical therapy move into it.
Okay.
That opens up the full nursing wing, which we call Parkview Hall. Okay. After the hospital.
Yeah.
So it's Parkview Hall, which actually looks like a high school. I mean, it's actually the center. It actually looks like a high school. When nursing moves out, that becomes a permanent home for CITI High.
Okay.
And the problem we're facing right now is CITI High already needs another classroom. I don't have another classroom.
Okay.
So we're stuck with either letting it kind of be the way it is with less than 100 students when it can have 500 that are the skills students that can go to work the day after graduation and get a job, have a great job. Or we can build a new building, get it moved, and grow it to what I think in 3 or 4 years after we get it moved, we'll surpass the early college.
Well, I certainly believe that it makes sense. I mean, it really does. And not only that, it allows somebody to shift from skills to, if I want to go pursue an associate's degree, let's just talk about healthcare, something I just know about, right?
Sure.
So maybe I can come out, maybe I can be a nursing assistant after I've gone to CITI, but then I'm like, you know what? Just another 2 years, and now I can be a registered nurse or an LPN or whatever.
Absolutely.
And so you can make a pivot, and you're in the environment where it makes it happen. You've got guidance, and you've got the interaction to be able to make it work. So how does that work? I mean, I'm making some assumptions here based on my own experience, but I'm constantly reminded by my children that I am getting older every day. I think that's relevant, but they have a different view, but whatever.
Sure.
By the time I was a senior, you really didn't have to have many hours of class, and so it was not unusual for kids to, particularly if they've been in the skills program. We had bricklaying, we had automotive, we had a couple of little things, I think electrician, to go to work, and it might look like an intern. It really wasn't much of an internship. It kind of was. Maybe it was a mentorship. I was being hired by an electrician or a brick mason or whatever. And so I'd leave at 10 o'clock in the morning, and because I was done with my class load, and I would have to stay till 3 o'clock. I still had to take the test, whatever to get my diploma. So does it kind of work that way? I mean, where I've got to get, my basic reading, writing, math stuff done
Sure.
to make the state happy, but then I've got all this time that I can apply toward electives. And is that the concept?
It still is, and especially at the innovative high school. So
Okay.
the reason they have the 5th year, the super senior year,
Okay, right.
is so to help kids finish, to make sure they've gotten all the state requirements
Sure.
done. But it's also to help them complete, in the case of the early college, an associate's degree by the time they finish.
Okay.
But in that 5th year, the majority of them are doing 1 or 2 classes, maybe, and then they've got free time.
Right.
In the case of the CITI High, the Skills High School, same thing. They may be working on an applied science degree. They may only be working on certificates, but they could get 4 or 5 certifications before they get out. It gives them an extra year if you're just not quite finished and ready
Right.
to finish up some other certifications and maybe do an internship or an apprenticeship or a pre-apprenticeship. So yeah, it still kind of works that way, specifically with the innovative high schools on campus, which, by the way, were the only 2 high schools, and they're on my campus.
Okay.
The only 2 high schools in Nash County that got into the top 5% for growth
That is outstanding.
in the last year.
Well, because it makes sense, right? It just makes sense. I can, at some level, define my own curriculum. And, look, maybe I think I want to be something,
Sure.
and I can go taste it and say, you know what, this is just not for me. And I can make a pivot without really, too much damage to my opportunities going forward, or without any damage
Sure.
really to it. So, I mean, there's a lot of advantage to that.
Oh, and to have it on campus even expands that. So
Sure.
at the old
I
site,
mean, both for you as an institution and for the student and for
Absolutely.
the community as a whole.
sure, in the old high school where it was, we
Right.
could only take 6 skills there. I can't take welding, can't
Right.
take advanced manufacturing. So we were able to offer what we could. Once it's on campus, now they have to be in a career pathway, and we've got to build
Sure.
these because we're expanding. But then my goal is, and maybe it's 2 years from now, maybe it's 3
Right.
years from now, if 2 of them want to decide to dip their toe in culinary,
Sure.
2 want to do robotics, 2 want
Sure.
to do welding, 2 want to
Sure.
do basically every skill we have, CNA, I mean, whatever it
Yeah.
might be,
Yeah.
we can do that on campus.
You can
there's-
just insert them into the class. They
We
may not be
can.
with necessarily high school age students,
Right.
but they're going to be engaged. And I think that makes just total sense.
It does, and we can expand our offerings, and that's why I truly believe it will grow
Right.
to at least equal the early college.
Sure.
Because before, again, we had 6 skills we could take, and there was electrical and HVAC
Sure.
and computers and things like
Sure.
that, which were great. But if you're interested in culinary, we didn't have that, so
Right.
you couldn't be a City High student.
Well, you
'cause
did,
we
but you
didn't
had to
have
take it at
culinary.
night or whatever.
Yeah,
So-
sure.
How does transportation work in that deal? So, it works when you've got sort of districts and people are going
Mhm.
to the same place. This is a little different. So,
It's a little different, but this is where Dr. Ellis and his entire team are so supportive.
okay,
NCPS, Nash County
Right.
Public Schools, takes care of transportation.
sure.
So to and from campus. So we have a lot of bus traffic. It looks kind of like a high school campus in the mornings
Yeah,
and in the afternoons, but I love it.
sure.
I mean, the campus is full, it's bustling, it's busy. So these kids, either parents drop off,
Okay.
they drive themselves,
Yeah.
or buses let them off. And I'd say probably half the enrollment comes on buses.
So they just hop
probably.
up at school, and then they go to wherever this is going to go, and then the last is at Nash Community
Exactly.
College. Okay.
So the school system has been, I would say the relationship between the college and the school systems at least as good as it's ever been, if not better.
Right.
And part of that is because Dr. Ellis and I just get along.
Sure.
And
Well,
we have kind of the same visions. And,
right.
there are times if you get a superintendent that doesn't have the vision that the college does, there's not always a compatibility thing there.
Well, I mean, it just look, communication fixes everything,
Absolutely.
right? And we tend to do business with people we like, and so where you have that mash up, it's just a beautiful thing.
It is. It works out really well. And that's why I tell him he cannot retire. I told him first, you cannot retire before demerger's done. And now I said, look, you cannot retire till we get
I remember-
health sciences built.
I remember I was talking to him and to Dr. McLeod, and we were talking about the demerger. First of all, it's never been done before, so there's no roadmap.
Right.
So both of those gentlemen are doing a yeoman's job of, as my father would say, changing tires as the car drives down the road, just kind of figuring it out as we go, knowing that we just got to take care of our kids. That's
Absolutely.
just the one thing that's a standard that we got to deal with.
Absolutely.
So look, we only have a couple more minutes.
Okay.
And what I need to know, what else is going on at Nash Community College? I mean, this is exciting stuff.
This is something else that's really exciting for
Yeah.
us. So we have had the Myrtle Carter Henry Amphitheater for 13 plus years.
Okay.
it has been so rarely used because there's no cover on it.
Well, how about this? I didn't know we had it, and I've been around for 13 years.
It is
at
awesome.
least.
It's on the west part of campus.
Okay.
And it's down. Honestly, when you're down in it, we've got the pond with a fountain. We've got a picnic shelter.
Right.
It is like you're in the mountains. It's an awesome part of campus.
So that's kind of where Biden came. It's not far from the.
No, that's on the south end of
Okay,
campus.
other
This
end.
is,
Okay,
this
all
is
right.
really right across from the main. If you left Brown Auditorium and
Yep.
went straight over to the other side of campus, that's
Okay.
where it would be.
Yeah.
So it's really the less traveled part of
Okay.
campus, but it's becoming the more traveled part because of CITI High and Early College.
Okay.
We have procured the funding to put a really incredible timber structure
Okay.
over the amphitheater.
Yeah.
We're using it as an outdoor classroom when we get that done, probably within the year. But then it becomes the more, I don't know, appetizing look for other donors
Sure.
to finish out the seating area. We
Sure.
want restrooms eventually. We would have a regional amphitheater,
Yeah.
seating of 200 to 300 people. That's in this incredible. It's surrounded by
Yeah.
trees. It's got this incredible view of a fountain looking through to a lake behind it.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know that you're not in the mountains, and then we think it'll become a showpiece for the region.
Well, I think that's outstanding. That's exciting stuff.
It
Really, it
is.
is.
It really
and
is.
you know, Brown Auditorium gets used quite a bit. So it's not
40,000.
like folks aren't used to going there.
No,
40,000.
40,000 plus. The college does about 70,000 people a year. 40,000 of them in Brown Auditorium. So the
Wow.
majority of people, when I do VIP tours and take people around,
Right.
they've all been to Brown.
Right.
Everyone's been there.
Sure.
But it's amazing to me the number of people that say, I know you had that. I know you had that. I know you had that. And when I say, how long you lived here? They're like, my whole life. I'm like, then that's your fault. But we haven't given anybody a reason to drive around to the rest of campus yet.
Right. Right.
That's what we're trying to do.
Unless I'm trying to get a certification or
Exactly.
well, you know, I don't know. I went and took culinary classes with my wife. We had a great time
Sure.
doing that. But you know, I've learned that I don't think I'm going to be a chef ever. I mean, not that I can't follow a recipe, but it is a lot of work. I don't think anybody really appreciates it. Those guys work hard.
It's a lot of work. I appreciate every chef there is.
Daggone right. I mean, I make sure I compliment them every time if they've served me something good because I get it.
Me too. Me too.
Well, look, Dr. Hunnicutt, I really appreciate you coming. I appreciate what you're doing in our community and educating our folks and this innovative thinking and working with the school system and just, you know, being a team player is tremendous. And as you know, it's a big part of economic development, you know, because folks want to know where's the workforce going to come from? And we've got to grow it and we've got to build it. And you're an integral part of that along with all the other educators that we have out there. So thank you so much for what you're doing.
Oh, and right back at you. Thank you for all your support. We couldn't do it without the support of the city and the county. And the college is so intricately connected into the county. And I love that.
Yeah.
I don't go anywhere. I wear Nash stuff all the time. Yeah. And the great thing is 99.9% of the stories are awesome. Yeah. It's like, my grandmother went there. My granddad went there.
Yeah, sure.
Very rarely do I get so-and-so happened. I mean, you're going to get that every once in a while. Oh, but the support just that we feel in the county is incredible between all the municipalities and the county itself. So thank you for all you do.
Well, congratulations and good luck on this. And
thank you.
We're going to do everything we can do to try to help you get that money.
I appreciate it.